Up next, we have David with Capstone Financial. You might want to unmute.
Yep, sorry about that. Good morning. How's everybody doing today?
Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. For those of you who I maybe haven't had a chance to visit with yet, as you guys know, from the Great Lakes down to the Gulf Shore and as far northeast as Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey, Capstone is your provider through Keller Williams at the regional level for your full-blown benefits package, and we are your partners and we are retained to help you with practice building as an educational resource, and most importantly, to make sure that you have the best experience as a Keller agent. I've been asked today to talk a little bit about financial planning, financial growth. So I wanted to share a couple of concepts with you today. Also want to make sure that you knew how to get a hold of us as a group. First of all, as you know, should you go, and I'm going to try to share screen here. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Can everybody see the Southeast Region website? As you can see, under your benefits, you now have a full comprehensive benefits package that's available to you. And of course, if you click on any of these links and any of the areas that you want to work on, it's going to take you right over here to us here at Capstone Financial. But more importantly, the most important thing is making sure that I and everybody on my team gives access to you and everybody on your team. We are retained. We are your partner. I'm going to be reaching out to each of you, and if any of you have any, need any help in any of the areas, I want to make sure that you know how to get a hold of me. So I will make sure and put into the chat my contact information, and I'll have that in there in just a little bit. But today, I wanted to share with you guys some concepts around financial success and practice building. So they've given me about 10 or 15 minutes. I know some of you are new agents. I know some of you are successful and experienced agents. So what I want to do is I first want to talk a little bit to the new agents, and then I want to talk to all of you as a group, a couple of things that everybody should be doing as a successful agent. And then I want to talk a little bit to the successful agents, because there are some things that you're going to want to tap into, some concepts to really supercharge your success financially. Now, all of us, we choose our career paths. And as you know, when it comes to real estate, you're really in a position where you can be very successful. You can create your own career, and there's no limit to what you can do. You are your greatest asset. But when you're starting out, there's a couple of things that you really need to make sure that you do. The first thing is, as you're growing your business, as you're growing your career, you have to inspect what you expect. Don't expect what you don't inspect. So the first thing is that if you are a commission-based person, you've got to be in a position where you understand the numbers of your practice. So the first basic tool to your financial success in real estate is going to be control your budget. Do not let your budget control you. So you have to be proactive. You have to, on purpose, take the time and realize, what does it take to run my practice financially in terms of cash flow? What does it take to run my lifestyle, my home, my family, if you will? Now, if this is something that I'm sure the successful agents you are doing, you probably use, a lot of times folks say, what's the best software to use? What's the best program to use? If you do not have access, I can send to you a worksheet. If you have never sat down and formally looked at your cash flow, your budget, your income and your outflow, I can give you a worksheet. Just let me know, just reach out to me, and I can send you something to work on. And that's something, of course, we could talk about and work on together. But even though your income may be high in some periods and lower in others, we all know that we're normally about 90 days either ahead or behind when it comes to real estate, when it comes to the critical path of the sale. So the first thing you need to know is you need to know, what does it take to run my business and what does it take to run my household on a regular basis? And then you need to manage to that. So if you need a tool to do that, I can provide you with a tool. Know what your budget is. And from there, goal setting and going beyond that. Now, obviously, we're not just in it just to meet our budget. We're in it to grow our budget and to grow our income. So once we know what our budget is and what we need to operate, and once we start to operate in excess of that, the next step is to make sure that you're protecting your own best asset. And what is your own best asset? Your own best asset is you. Your ability to do the business, to make it happen, to close the business, and to create and build your practice. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but the first best practice is once you have your budget down and you start to create income, your first goal financially should be create a fund, a savings, if you will, of about 3 months of your operating expenses, not just the business, but your home as well. Because that's sort of 90 days, as you know, is kind of the magic number from the start of the process to the end on average. But if something precludes you from operating, or if we hit a little bit of an interruption like we've all seen, and again, congratulations to you guys, you're going gangbusters. But always try to put yourself in a position where if you can't operate, things will continue to operate for you. All right? So 3 months is sort of the first thing. Now, from the jump, every new agent should have basically 3 accounts. The first is you should have a separate account, call it a checking account, if you will, where all of your income is coming into. The second account, maybe it's a simple savings account, but every time you get paid, be in the habit where about 30% of that income, set it aside in the second account into a separate savings account and account for your taxes. Because one of the little shortfalls that newer agents sometimes have is we get very successful, we start doing well, and we don't account for the fact that since we're an independent contractor, we have to account for our quarterly taxes. So as you are getting started, be in the good habit of having one account where all your commission comes into, and from that account, pay the expenses of your business, take about, call it 30% of whatever income you have set aside for tax. And then that third account should be maybe the account that you run your household out of. Okay, so make sure that you differentiate. It always helps, especially in terms of making sure you have documentation of your expenses. Do that out of that business account, because again, that's going to be an easier way to track and separate as you move forward into building your career and well, once a year, making sure your taxes are accounted for. So those are some basic ideas for new agents. One, look on a regular basis at maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. Look at and follow your budget. What do I really need to do to get things going? Once I know what that is and I start working towards that, the first step is make sure we have enough savings to operate if we have a short-term interruption. And then, of course, always make sure that you're accounting for taxes. Do any of the newer agents have any questions about these basics, these foundational basics, before we start moving into some real wealth building concepts? Please tell me I'm not boring you to death.
You're good, David. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So that's a good foundational start. Now let me talk to all of you. New, seasoned, successful, getting started. There's a couple of things. And again, we have been retained so that you guys have a resource. I know some of you, maybe real estate is a second career. I know some of you, if you're married, your spouse has another career. Everything that we have to offer is to help you no matter what your specific position is. But let's talk a little bit about things for every agent. Now, the first thing is like I said, first of all, the best way we can protect ourselves first is by paying ourselves first. But I want to share something else with you real quick. Can everybody see this? This. Can everybody see the Millionaire Real Estate Investor? I'm sure you're all familiar with this book. Is there anyone here who has not yet read this book? Everybody's read the book.
Oh no, we have hands up in here.
Okay, all right. If anybody has not read this, this is written by one Mr. Gary Keller. Okay? And this talks about some of the concepts that you can do so that you can go from being not just a real estate agent, but a lot of the best practices around building your personal career and your own personal portfolio. So I do recommend this book, but I want to talk specifically about stage 2 in this book. There's a couple of things that Gary talks about that we all must embrace. What he talks about is protect your future. Okay? A lot of folks can be very successful in real estate. They do very well. They develop a good client base. They're doing a lot of closes. They're making great money. And they're flying, but candidly, they're flying without a net. Again, your biggest asset, your biggest investment in your career and in your practice is not any one piece of your real estate portfolio, not your IRA. It's you and your ability to create the income and to grow the practice to your best ability. So 3 things that Gary talks about in the book that are absolutely essential. 1, protect your income. If something happens that is out of your control, and it's actually the biggest thing that takes agents who are very successful from being successful to losing their momentum, is you have to protect your income. If you are in a position where because of something involving your health or an accident or something precludes you because of your health, that keeps you from being out there and making it happen and generating your income, you have to protect yourself. So one of the first things that Gary Keller talks about is protect your income from disability. Now, in the past, a lot of the agents through Keller have either had to figure that out on their own, or they've had no resource to be able to meet that need. So just so you know, as part of the benefits package you have through Keller Williams now, you have a true group disability coverage. And because it is a group coverage, we have seen as little as 25% and as much as a 50% premium savings for members of your group. So if something happens tomorrow that's out of your control, COVID, an auto accident, something involving your health, something we can't control, and you are sidelined, my question is what have you done to protect that income and keep it going, to run the business and to build your wealth? If you have no plan, again, reach out to me and my team. The plan is available. Basic information is on the website, but the most important thing is I know you're all super busy. You've heard me say it before. I'll save you 2 hours. Give me 10 minutes via Zoom or over the phone. Let's make sure you are not flying without a net. The second thing that Gary talks about that every agent should do is make sure that your life insurance and your health insurance are adequate. A lot of folks who are new agents and a lot of folks who are seasoned agents, health insurance has been a real bugaboo. There are several avenues that are available through your Keller Williams package. Now, if some of you have solutions that are through your spouse and everything, don't just automatically assume I don't need to look at it. There's a lot of things in the package that can fill in gaps. And it's always a good time because right now, in a few weeks, we're going to be getting into enrollment for folks whose spouses have plans as well. So this is an excellent time to check. Now, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But just know that you have a great resource right here through your company. And of course, life insurance, most important thing. If we have goals that we want to set for our career, for ourselves, for our family, and God forbid the worst happens, you have full flight of availability, some of it jet issue. If you have had health issues that have precluded you from getting life insurance before, have a conversation with me or my team. Some of the stuff that's available is jet issue, 3 questions and done. Some of it is guaranteed issue. So Keller Williams wants to make sure that nothing is standing between you and success, but also making sure that if you're flying, you are not flying without a net. Does anybody have any questions around the benefits package that you now have available through Keller? I am putting everybody to sleep. I'm sorry. We will be reaching out to each of you individually. Please, it's worth 10 or 15 minutes. Let's make sure any questions you have are answered. Now, let's talk about some things you can do that get into real wealth building. You've done the work, you've built your practice. And please remember this, here's another thing you could write down real quick. Success in this industry is keeping a schedule. Get up, Get your feet on the ground in the morning when you start. Say thank you. Do the work in the morning. Take your time every day to do your prospecting. Get out there and make it happen. Success is keeping a schedule and keeping that schedule full. But you've done the work, you're building your practice. You're not only meeting your budget, but you're paying yourself first. You're starting to grow your business and your income over and above need and into creating real wealth. So what pockets do we need to stick it in? Well, the first thing is I want to give you a little bit of a resource. Talk about pockets. I don't know what you guys listen to. If you're like me, you spend a lot of time in the car. Can everybody see this? If you are in the car, make the most of that time. I know some of us like to listen to music. Some of us like to talk on the phone. That's excellent. But you, as your own business biggest investment, always invest in your own education. This is a website called biggerpockets.com. And part of the Bigger Pockets is they do a podcast. And some of the guys who do this podcast are killer guys. Okay. But this is the best of the best, having conversations about building wealth and having those conversations with the best of the best. So I'm here to tell you, success leaves clues. This is something you could use as a resource, not only the whole site, but these podcasts are free and available for you to enjoy. Now, this one right here, it says, podcast 405. Does everybody see this? It says, investing in the only true recession-proof asset, yourself. So again, that gets back to Mr. Keller's clue, protect that income that you're generating. And when that income gets to a certain point, the question really that I know you guys are looking for from me today is, well, what do we do with it? You know, now, a typical advisor is we're gonna devolve into a conversation about, well, these mutual funds, that ETF, or so on and so forth. That's what's called asset allocation. How should I allocate a portfolio? Well, I'm here to tell you today that asset allocation is not as important as your asset location. Is there anybody here? Can anybody speak up? Have any of your, I'm sure all of your, if you have an advisor, and that's wonderful, I'm sure your advisors have talked to you about asset allocation. Have any of your advisors talked to you about your asset location? Okay, well, this is the difference between having a sort of everyday conversation and really getting into wealth building concepts. Now, you must do two things. Where do we locate the money that we're saving if we're paying ourselves first? How do we grow that money? Well, some of you may say, well, obviously I'm in real estate. I want to build a real estate portfolio. Fantastic. And some of you say, well, you know, my husband or my wife or my husband has a 401k. That gives us a tax break now. I want to do something that's the same for my practice. Absolutely correct. But then the third bucket, the third thing we have to talk about is what can I do to make sure that as I'm building this, I'm creating a retirement that's going to create a future income, but that's also going to give me as much tax advantage once I get to retirement age. Why do we build up a real estate portfolio? Well, because real estate over time is going to give us an equity return on the value of the investment. And if I pay the investment off and rent it, I can create income streams. Fantastic. Now, real estate is illiquid, so we also want to make sure that part of our portfolio we create has liquidity. Why? Because along the way, we're going to want to have liquidity to buy that real estate portfolio. And we also are going to, you know, well, I always joke around with agents, you know, if I have a great piece of rental property, I can't go into the backyard, fill a wheelbarrow with some of the dirt out of the backyard and take it on down to Walmart and buy groceries. It's illiquid. So if we're building our real estate portfolio, we have to build liquidity into our portfolio as well. So let me share a concept with you that is proven and a concept that you can embrace. Excuse me. I thought that was off. Basically, you have to have 3 locations in your portfolio, 3 locations, okay? And you can label those pre-tax, post-tax, and tax advantage. Pre-tax, post-tax, and tax advantage. Now, let me give you a little bit of history here. A lot of times, the only thing we all focus on, and I'm going to share a screen here with you. Can everybody see this illustration? It says tax control. Everybody see this?
Yes.
Hello? Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, can you see this?
Yes.
A lot of times, all we focus on down here is the tax deferred bucket. Now, the first thing I need to tell you is you do have to have this bucket, okay? Now, you are a 1099 employee or a 1099 contractor, so you can't have a traditional 401k, so that leaves you what are called IRA options. Now, most people will create a traditional IRA. Basically, any money that you save into your tax deferred bucket is going to give you a tax advantage right now in the year that you earned it. This is money that you do not have to pay taxes on in the year that you earned it. However, a traditional IRA, we can only do about $6,000 a year, $7,000 based on our age. So everybody write this down. The first thing we need to look at in this bucket is something called a SEP, S-E-P, SEP IRA. You, as a real estate agent, you can set up your own individual IRA or individual 401k, or you could set up what's called a SEP IRA. Now, the SEP is normally, which stands for Simplified Employee Plan or Simplified Employee Pension. This is really a linchpin for real estate professionals. And the reason why is first of all, it's very easy to set up. It's easy to administer. And again, I am fiduciary. Our team are all advisors fiduciarily. We can show you specifically how to do this at no cost. But what the SEP IRA allows you to do is instead of just $6,000 to $7,000 a year that you can get off your tax return, you can up to 25% of your earned income, up to $56,000 off of your return. What does that mean? Well, if you guys are doing very well and there's operating money and the house is doing great and we hit a couple of good high dollar properties, this gives you the opportunity to scoop much larger portions of your annual income off the return and set it up for tax deferred growth for retirement. So that's the first bucket. Any questions on the first bucket? Now the second bucket is, remember I said pre-tax, post-tax, tax advantaged. The second bucket is after tax. Now this is money that you may save, one, for liquidity, two, of course, for growth, and three, this may be money we invest in a real estate portfolio and other investments or so forth. But this is the part of your investment plan, your wealth building, that is going to, one, provide liquidity, but two, is also going to provide growth. So this is the part we look at and we talk about, I want to start buying rentals, or maybe I want to do some other investments over and above my SEP and so forth. Now, one thing we have to remember in the first bucket, the tax deferred bucket, when we get to retirement, we start using this because we didn't pay taxes on it as income. This is going to be taxed as income in retirement. Now, this second bucket, the taxable bucket, we can grow this, but as we grow, if we take any money out of this bucket and we have gain or growth in that money, it can be taxed as capital gain. Does everybody understand that? Any questions on that? I'm sorry, anyone? So please understand that most people in their wealth building think very two-dimensionally. They only think of these two buckets. But the key to wealth building is not just asset allocation, what's inside the bucket, it's asset location. You have to have the third bucket. Now, the third bucket is money over and above our tax deferred that we set aside after tax. But this will grow and this will create money that later on that either we can build for liquidity for use as we move towards retirement, or money that when we start using it in retirement, we could use tax-free. Tax-free. Now, why do we want to do that? Well, we want to do that for a couple of reasons. One, let me ask everyone a question. I want an honest answer. We came into 2020 with 21 trillion in debt as a nation. We spent about another 6 on COVID, and right now they're arguing between 1 and 3, and it looks like we may not spend that money till after the election, but we're going to toss on another 1 to 3 trillion on top of what we've already spent. Now, because of the size of our national debt, and you look at our gross domestic product, there really is only going to be one solution moving forward when it comes to facing that debt issue. And does anybody want to venture a guess to what that is? Anyone? Taxes are going to go up in the future. Right now, we are at one of the lowest tax structures that we've ever had, at least in my adult life as a 50-year-old. And that's terrific. But if there's anyone here, because we've all been told when it comes to our retirement planning, well, you know, save into that tax deferred, take the tax break now, because when you retire, we're going to retire into a lower bracket. Is there anyone here who thinks that we are going to retire into a lower tax bracket 10, 15, 20, 25 years from now?
No, we're going to need to build through real estate or put back gold or silver, because we're not going to be able to, we're not going to retire.
Okay, well, hopefully we will. If we're doing accumulating, I'm going to thank you for contributing. You're right. We need to build predictable income streams, and we must create tax advantage in retirement. So I'm going to agree with Regina, but I'm going to challenge her. Now, the real estate's going to fall into this bucket, okay? Because again, any growth we have on the portfolio of real estate investments, if we sell them, we're going to be subject to capital gain. Now, granted, that's going to be more like 15 to 20% versus maybe 30% on an income tax level, but still. And we definitely want to use real estate to create those indelible income streams by maybe having them as rentals. But is that rental income taxable?
Well, if you can depreciate some of your expenses, I think.
Absolutely correct. There are two things that you have to set up. The first thing is Regina's correct. We can use depreciation to offset the income on a real estate portfolio. But the other thing, Regina, that I have to challenge you with, and this is for the folks who are passing enormous gobs of wealth, you know, to their spouses and to their families, is you also should have the third bucket. Right. Because if you are creating income and some depreciation here, any income derived from having that third part of your portfolio is completely tax-free. Let me give you all an example. Another agent, and I no names, but sort of the same conversation. I'm building a real estate portfolio, and he even came to me and he said, I have to create some offsetting tax-free, but I earn too much. I can't qualify for a Roth IRA. I said, well, congratulations. That's wonderful. That means you're doing well. I said, but what if you could? He said, well, man, I'd put $20,000 a year into it. I said, okay. So what we did in the example I'm going to give you is we created that third bucket, and he said he wanted to fund it, and he's 40 years old. He said he wanted to fund it at $20,000 a year. And again, he's doing very, very well. No restriction on the Roth IRA. He's doing it with post-tax dollars. Building his real estate portfolio, saving into a SEP IRA, but now creating the third bucket. Now his goal was to between 40 and 60 to basically put 20,000 in every 20 years, leave it alone. He intended to retire at 65 and then start drawing money out of it, money out of the 401 or out of the SEP IRA, excuse me. So two things. One, this allowed him to be very aggressive in his SEP because he used equity positions to grow the SEP, which he was contributing to you annually as well. In this portion, this post-tax to tax-free portion, he kind of used it as his bond surrogate. So looking for more of a fixed return, it's kind of like tortoises and hares. More predictability. And again, the ability to get a better idea of what it was going to do. So at a base interest at about 4%, getting close to 5.5 to 6 over the lifetime of the investment between compounding and dividend application. 20,000 in for 20 years, leave it alone and start taking income at 65. Based on the fixed return, at 66, when he starts taking income out of it, Regina, he's going to pull $51,000 a year out of it for the next 20 years, tax-free. Now, while it's accumulating, these funds are, first of all, not restricted by the Roth rule, meaning he can touch it before 59.5, because if along the way he wanted to take sections of this money and use it to buy or exchange real estate, flip houses, build a real estate portfolio, he had accessibility to do that. But ultimately his goal is to use it as an income stream. So yeah, he's going to put 20,000 into it over 20 years, $400,000, but over the next 20 in distribution, he's going to take out over 1 million with no taxable event. Now let's think about that. If he was just pulling the same corresponding amount out at about a 28% tax bracket just out of the SEP, he'd have to pull out just about another 20,000 just to write a check to Uncle Sam for taxes to use that same 51,000. Is everybody following me? So over a 20-year retirement, that's another $400,000 staying in his portfolio, growing, compounding for his use or to pass along to his spouse, to his family. So my point today is, if you are a young agent, do the basics. Do not let your money control you, control your money. Make sure you're familiar with your budget. If you need a worksheet or a tool to do that, we can make that available. For all agents, take Mr. Keller's advice, which is, as his book says, protect your future, protect your biggest asset. Make sure your income is protected if you have a disability. Make sure your health and your life insurance are in shape. You have at your disposal a comprehensive benefits package through Keller Williams, and you have an entire team dedicated to helping you, to educate you, and to make sure you have what you need over and above the good work you've already done. And again, we'll reach out to you individually about that, or if you have questions, contact me. But then if you are doing well and your practice is growing, it is not just about your asset allocation, it's about your asset location. What are you doing to reduce your taxable liability now, but what are you doing to maximize your tax advantage in retirement, while along the way having the liquidity to build that real estate portfolio, and to Regina's point, to offset that income with depreciation. Does anybody have any questions about what we've covered today? And I realize I went a little long, I apologize. Anything at all, any questions at all that I can answer today for you?
No question?
Yes.
No, I was just asking if there was nobody, did everybody know that this was available to you through Keller Williams? Did all of you know?
That's the first thing. I mean, we've been sending out a lot of email, but is everybody aware that you have all this available to you?
Yeah.
I just found it out last week.
Yeah.
I just met with David yesterday.
Oh, good. Well, very good.
Okay, well, what I'm going to do is, I'm sorry?
I said, now everybody knows, and when you're reaching out, they can put your name, your face with your name, and they'll know who they're talking to.
Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over into the chat. I'm going to put my name, my personal cell number, because again, guys, I don't care if you're very busy, okay? But I don't care if it's 6 o'clock on Thursday or 2 o'clock on Sunday. I'm going to give you my personal number, okay? If anything we've talked about today or anything in your practice, if you are a successful seasoned agent or new, we have been bound by the region to talk with each and every one of you. So do please feel free to reach out, or if you see it's my number, just give me a quick hello. I'll also put my email address in there. But what we want to do is make sure we have a chance to visit with you all personally, review and answer any questions about the programs that are available through the region. And I'm the first to say it, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, but do please, I'll save you 2 hours of reading, give me 10 or 15 minutes. Our goal is the same goal that you have, which is to make sure that your practice is doing everything it can to give you the results that you want and to give you the career path that you deserve. Does anybody have anything else for me today? Well, great to visit with all of you. I look forward to speaking with you all personally. Again, congratulations and continued success. And I'll hang on the line here for a little bit.
Thank you, David. All right, well, kind of piggybacking off of what David talked about, I wanted to tell all of you already, be the first to tell you Happy New Year. Because really, right now, we are really already in the new year. I mean, what you do today is 90 days, right? So wanted to talk with you about, we have business planning clinics that are going to be coming available to you guys through region. Regional instructors are going to be announcing that soon. And I want you guys to think about 5 questions. First of all, your business plan. What you want these numbers to look like. What is your budget going to be? These are 5 questions you're going to need to know to get it right for 2021. Okay? Okay, sorry. Okay. So, we're all about building a life by design, right? Having the calendar blocked, building that life. What is your budget? What will my budget be for 2021? What is my earning expectation for 2021? And, that's just not, how many sales you're going to have. What about profit share? What about stocks? Rentals, investment. What are your earning expectations for 2021? What will your net worth be at the end of 2021? What do you want your lifestyle to look like for 2021? Not like 2020. Stephanie said not like 2020. And what legacy? What legacy do you want to create and leave for 2021? Because we are really already there. So really knowing those numbers, the questions to those answers, business planning clinic will be coming soon. I hope all of you, encourage all of you to jump in and join in, because it's so important for you to have that plan in place, because we're really already there for 2021. Does anybody have any questions or comments around that?
I put it in the chat so that if you cannot follow along to write it down, or if you're driving, you can get it in the chat. And this is also being recorded, so you can go back and get it later too.
All right, so who's ready for 2021? See Sherry's hand. Anybody else ready to say goodbye to 2020? Yes. Oh, masks. I got a new one yesterday. Okay.
That's what's going to be in everyone's stocking.
That's right. Okay. Shifting focus a little, we're going to talk about earnest money. And I think my question to everyone is when you take earnest money, when does that need to be delivered to the office?
Immediately. Right away.
Immediately, as soon as possible. Even if you don't have agreed upon accepted contract yet, as soon as possible. When earnest money comes in, you make a copy of it, you put it in your .loop, you put it into command. It is so important that earnest money, trust me, I just redid avoiding violations. And we've just been having a little bit of issues. I'm gonna let Steph talk around that if y'all don't mind for a little bit.
Yeah.
And what we created.
Yeah.
Or what she's created.
First of all, there is a compliance quick 30-minute class coming up. I think it's on the 22nd. It's just 30 minutes to kind of go over what the office expects in command and stuff like that. But like Lisa said, your job is not to hold on to that earnest money. Your job is to get it and then give it to us. And on the contract form that you fill out, there is a spot that says you can circle hold instead of deposit. So that way you're not walking around with, Nina, we'll answer that question in just a second. You're not walking around with a check in your pocket and then you lose that check and then you have to go back to your buyer and say, yeah, I've lost that check. Can you cancel that check? And it's just causes a lot of other things. So go ahead and bring it to the office. It stays locked up. I will not touch it until you tell me to. Every once in a while, we will look to see if we have a signed contract on it so I can be like, hey, are we good now? And stuff like that. So on the form, and it's just to get you thinking more than anything. There is now a section on that little form that says, I have copied this earnest money. And there's another box that says, I would love for you guys to copy and upload it for me for $5 to KW Cares. That is just to get you thinking, to get you reminded that this is so important. To give an example of what could happen. What happens if you think that your buyer got this earnest money to us, but you realize at closing that didn't happen. So all of a sudden we're trying to find earnest money that we never got a copy of, that never got turned into us, that you thought we had. So there's just, that would lead to your closing being held up. What if you hold on to that earnest money and bring it in at closing with the closing check? The buyer most likely thinks you've already cashed that check. What if it bounces? Guess who's paying that earnest money now? So just think about what could happen if that money doesn't get to us. The office, Lisa, could get in big trouble. So that's why that's why it's so important. We're not doing this to be mean teachers. Like, that's how important it is to have a copy of the earnest money, to track where it's at, to make sure that it gets here. If you have out-of-state buyers, you can have them overnight a check. You can also have them wire it to us. We can get you the wire instructions. There is just a $10 fee that goes along with that your buyer would pay as they send it. So it's as simple as that. I mean, just get a copy of it and upload it. That's all you have to do to save everybody. Yeah.
So yes, the expectation is that all earnest money will be turned immediately, as soon as possible, once you have received the earnest money. Now, if you're writing a contract for a buyer and they decided they're going to buy it after y'all left, you know, they want to put an offer in. So on the contract, if you are putting that there is earnest money, you need to put in the provisions or something to protect yourself that earnest money will be delivered to office or collected within 48 hours of accepted contract, or however. If you are putting that there's earnest money on that contract, then you need to have that in hand, or put it in the provisions that it would be collected within 24 to 48 hours of an accepted ratified contract. Is there any questions around that at all?
So we have to upload a copy of it to Dotloop and Command. Obviously, I'm bringing.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So you can because the seller agent will most likely, hopefully, ask for a copy of it as well. So you can get it in the Dotloop, that way you have it in that file, and you do require it in Command also.
That's just a copy, that's not a deposit.
No,
Like, you take a picture for the bank and send it.
You take a picture of the check that needs to be loaded into Dotloop, into Command, into your files, and then of course it's delivered to Stephanie. And then if you are on the listing side and you don't have a copy, you need to ask the other agent to send you a copy of that.
Also, it's super important to get us. That's another reason why it's so important to go ahead and submit the documents to us. Because we had a situation where the reason we did not know about the earnest money was because we didn't receive any of the documents about the contract or the buyer's agreement until it closed. And that's also going to hold up your check. So my job is to get your check to you as fast as possible. But to do that, you got to work with me and turn in your listing documents within 48 hours, turn in your contract documents once it's signed within 48 hours, along with earnest money. That's to get you a check in your hand that day as soon as possible. So, because I could have a pile of people who've already done what they're supposed to, ready to go, had to put yours to the side because you don't have anything. So,
And contracts are to be submitted to the office as soon as you have one. Too. So we know when we're looking at numbers and what to expect, when we're doing compliance, make sure that you guys have everything that you need as well.
any questions about any of that? And again, we're not here to hound you. It's to keep you safe, it's to keep the office safe, to keep Lisa safe, it's to keep everyone's license intact and
Did you pay?
buyers happy, sellers happy, everyone happy.
Well, it hasn't been that long, but I remember the classes, they really hammered that home, that earnest money needs to be there.
Yeah.
As
And we-
soon as possible.
We don't take cash either. I know that has not been asked, but if they tell you they want to pay you cash.
You do certified funds, right?
Yeah, they need to get the certified funds.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, very good. I have a few announcements, but we're gonna open it up to our ALC to see. Sarah, can we start with you? Education, you wanna talk about what's coming?
Yes, sorry, I was trying to eat and feed my kid. He's on fall break this week. So education, I really want to encourage everybody to sign up for Ignite 2.0. Even if you've already taken the regular Ignite, there's going to be a lot of changes to this one to update it to today's standards. So I just really want to encourage everybody, and if you still need CE, register for those free CE HAR events. They're via Zoom. You don't have to be in person this year. So just do that, please. Ignite's going to be amazing. I even teach it and I'm taking it. So y'all really get as much out of it as you can. I know it's a long course, but you're really going to get a lot out of it.
Hey, Sarah, and it's different coaches throughout the region, correct?
Yes, it's going to be coaches from around our entire region. And these are not necessarily productivity coaches, but some of them are. Some of them are MAPS coaches. So you're really going to get a ton out of it.
So even if you're new and haven't taken Ignite 1.0, I still strongly encourage you to get signed up for Ignite 2.0. It starts on October 12th. And it's Monday through
Friday, 8:30 to 12, and it's free.
It is for 3 weeks, right?
And it's until November 8th, 7th, something.
4 weeks?
November 6th.
November 6th.
November 6th.
And then
So,
all the, cause I just got, I went to the Facebook page and went under documents or files, I think it was. Cause the information that I got about the Ignite 2.0 said that we were supposed to download the information the night before, the day before.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure when you register, because it's a separate link from our office, it's on we've emailed it out, it's on Facebook, and I think we're posting it one more time before Monday. They will probably give you instructions on where to download it. You can find it on KW Connect. Just search Ignite, and you should be able to
The
find
2.0 is
The
there?
2.0, I'm sure that's what
It's
they're
on
talking
Connect.
about. It's on KW
I
Connect.
thought it was Facebook.
But you should probably receive an email with that information of like where to go get it and stuff. I'm assuming. I have not registered, so I don't know what that looks like.
but yeah, we'll send out one more link around that.
Yeah.
Where you can download those docs. And
The dates and classes.
Sarah also talked about CE. So even if you're done with your CE and you're already now good through 2022, if you take our CE classes now, that will now count towards your next go round. And so I encourage you to still just jump in and take it. Paragon is on the 8th, sorry.
I was gonna answer Joy's question because I'm sure that people can see it. Joy, these classes that Sarah's talking about for CE are just for our office that's taught by HAR. So HAR probably also has another schedule that's out there for everybody.
Yes, so if you registered for the Paragon CE class that you were invited to, Mike Sandoval has already sent that link for the Paragon CE class that's going to be offered tomorrow. So even if you don't need CE, you're already done, go ahead and get some extra CE for next year or your next go round. And learn a little bit more about Paragon for those of you that would like to have a deeper dive into Paragon. This is a great opportunity for you to do that.
And since this is CE, if you have not done Zoom CE yet, you have to be on camera the whole time.
That's right.
So I wouldn't you can just roll out of bed if you want to, but just keep that in mind. The camera has to be on the whole time.
And then following that is Code of Ethics CE on the 13th. Code of Ethics is required too for everyone, so go ahead and jump in and take that and get CE credit for it. And then the avoiding violations is on the 20th, and Home Snap CE is on the 27th. Lisa, do you have anything to share around the wellness committee? Do you hear me, Lisa?
I think she does though.
Hey, no, I really don't. I just want to encourage everybody to get outside. This is some great weather, and it's a good time to get outside and enjoy it. And if you don't have anything else to do, just go adopt a puppy or two. So that'll keep you active. But we just really need to stay moving. It's so easy right now to get kind of depressed and down when we're still confined and can't go everywhere. It's a very different year, but running outdoors is still open, so take advantage of it. So I'm gonna mute real quick. Got a plane coming.
She lives near the airport. Oh, you can see the plane.
And then we have Mega Agent Day that the region is putting on. We have some locals. Susan Baldwin is going to be on that panel. Kyle's group from Great Group from Tuscaloosa, they'll be on the first meeting, but it is normally something that we went to Atlanta for. It's going to be a big day. It's 8:30 to 12:30 on the 22nd and on the 29th.
They're not like, you don't go to both. You can go to both, but you don't have to go to both. You can
And
choose one or the other.
it is no charge, but they are asking for donations to KW Cares to participate in that program. But I guarantee you guys, you will learn a lot. So put that on your calendar. It's the 22nd and the 29th from 8. Well, the 22nd is 8:30 to 12:30, and the 29th is 12:30 to 3:30. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, those of us who went last year to Atlanta, it was very informative and really good. So this is a great opportunity to get that for free and half the time. So
We're gonna play it here, but if you want,
Mega
if you need
Agent
it,
Day.
like if you're out somewhere, go ahead and register for it. But we'll have
Later
it
last year.
so, on both days.
Okay, so yeah, don't miss that. Bowls. Who all has participated in bowls before? Raise your hand.
Oh, I have.
So, right. So tell me, what did you take away from bowl, those that have participated before?
Mindset.
Mindset?
I'd say action, because I took some actions, and I've been through both about 3 times. Just get things done.
You do. And so they are rolling out, it's going to be a little different platform, but it starts October 20th bold. I encourage you to get registered. It's 4 weeks. You will break into huddles. They're actually putting you up on teams that you will huddle with. You really want to finish this year strong and start the year strong. Like I said, we're already in 2021. And so I would strongly encourage you guys, the platform is going to be a little different than it has been soon. And since we can't have it in person, they have changed it up just a tad again, but I encourage all of you, October 20th, start bold. So
Does that conflict with this night?
probably a little. So you have lots of options because, KWRI Bold is from KWRI, and from the top down. Our Ignite 2.0 is for the region, and you'll have lots of different math and productivity coaches. So you have a lot of great options for you throughout this month and the months to come. And then I want to say, ask for any announcements in a second, but I want to address. Did all of you get your email from Gary Keller today?
I think they were gonna email it this afternoon.
Didn't get anything.
Well, you're gonna get some soon. then. I thought y'all already did, but Gary Keller is announcing that he is stepping out as CEO. And yes, but this is a good thing. We're gonna have still a great leader. I mean, Gary Keller's not going far. He is now going to be the executive chairman of KWX, which is a holding company that has all of our affiliates, the Keller Mortgage covered, and all of that.
Insurance,
Yeah, everything.
KW Worldwide,
KW Worldwide.
either European.
So, I mean, there's probably gonna be a lot of buzz around that this afternoon, but it's a good thing. This is a plan. He's actually just stepping out a little bit sooner than what he thought he was going to do, because we are in great hands with the leadership of Josh King,
Yes, we are.
Stephanie's boyfriend. And Jason Abrams. I mean, he's not going anywhere, of course, but that announcement's gonna be coming soon today. And then they also announced Carl Lieber is gonna be the CEO of KWX. So,
And he has something to do with Home Depot or something. He like works at Home Depot and some other gym that I recognize, but anyway, you'll get that probably the same exact email later this afternoon.
yes. And then we have Social Equality Task Force has an event. April, do you want to speak to that real fast?
So Sunday, we will be doing a voters registration drive here in the parking lot at Keller Williams. We have a team of people that will be coming in. They will actually be doing the registrations. If you know anybody that wants to do absentee voting, we have people that'll be here for that to help them with that. If anybody's not registered and needs to register, or if they're not sure, then they'll be able to research that. If they don't know their voting location, they'll be able to look that up and tell them. And if you know anybody that's been incarcerated and they haven't been voting, send them our way, because some of them still are eligible to vote and they don't know it. So if you send them over, we'll be able to look it up and let them know whether or not they can vote or what they need to do to get their voting status back. So please send people our way. Come, there'll be food. It's Sunday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. There'll
Is
be
it
food,
rain or
live
shine?
music. I'm
Is
sorry.
it rain or shine?
Oh, yeah, we're supposed to have that.
It's this Sunday? Yes. Oh, it's definitely.
I'm sorry, I just want to make,
No.
You can always
go.
we can move it because he can put like.
You can put it underneath,
Yeah,
underneath the thing.
yeah.
I just want to make sure they tell them rain or shine.
Yeah, rain or shine. Ooh, thank you. I didn't even think of it. Got a storm. It's
Still
supposed to
keep
be-
it social
Yeah,
distancing and all,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but there's plenty of room underneath the covered patio.
so just make sure they tell them rain or shine.
Okay.
They can pull up and.
So if
jump
you
out.
know anybody that's not registered to vote, you need to encourage them to come on and get registered.
Yes, and there is a flyer, so, I don't know if we can post it on our Facebook page, and then you all can take it and share it also on your pages. That would be helpful as well.
Okay. Any other announcements? No. Clay Anderson, are you there?
Hey, I'm here.
You weren't on earlier, or at least I've missed you. If you did, I just wanted everybody to welcome you. Clay is also a new agent to the office. And we're so excited that you joined us for team meeting.
Hey,
He is just as thrilled. Kidding.
All right, so anything else anybody wants to share? No?
And just a reminder, I'm sorry, Lisa, just a reminder, those who are on the Social Equality Committee, right after this, to stay on the Zoom link, and we're just gonna have a brief meeting to try to wrap up for Sunday. Thank you.
Yeah, side is moving small and that y'all can hang out.
All right. Well, you guys, go make it a great day. See y'all later.
You can stay on for the social. We're gonna leave it up.
Close it down.
Give her a quick little break here. Okay, for 12:30.
Yeah, I gotta go pull numbers for that, actually.
I'm posting the file on Facebook, so everyone has a link.
Oh, that's good. Well, and, you know, once that hair color change and all that. Yeah, I have a little coded catastrophe where my identity of my haircut to the full time. I'm like, I couldn't keep it on her real spend out here. So she tried to catch it up and she burnt up the whole section of hair off. So I was like, yeah, let's just go back to the natural for a while. Let's see now.
That looks nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Can we leave? No, we don't need to, but I'll leave it because I'll mess up something and end up kicking us all out. I'm gonna take this off there, but. Okay, so real quick, I just want us to go over what we need to do for Sunday. Let me see, Johnny was kind enough to get some information about the hot dogs, so we are gonna serve hot dogs, chips, and water. So that's what we're gonna serve. We're gonna put them in bags. Actually, the organization that's sponsoring this has bags. They have little backpacks. So we're just gonna put the lunch in the backpack and everybody can go home with a backpack and they'll have the food. So what we need is I need people who are gonna be willing to be here. I would say the event starts at 2, so I would say no later than 12:30 to help us get set up, especially if it's raining, because then we're gonna have to try to decide exactly how we're gonna maneuver in the rain. So I need volunteers to come and help set up by 12:30. I need people who are going to volunteer to work the tables to pass out the food, the backpacks, and the other items that will be passing out. I need people who are willing to break down. Pretty much that's all we're doing. We're just going to be here hosting it. The Lift Our Boat organization is going to handle everything else. They have the live music coming. They've already, they'll come and set up themselves. They have the people that will be doing the registrations and everything. Anybody who's interested from our committee, who's interested in helping with registration, they said they can train you 5 or 10 minutes on the spot. You can help. Or if you want to learn just for future reference, you can learn that way too. So do we have any questions before we start trying to decide who's going to be where, doing what?
Well, I'll go ahead and volunteer for something, which is, if we get the hot dogs at Costco, I have a membership there, so I'll be glad to get the hot dogs and the chips and the water. And then have them here. I won't get those too early, but maybe Target be here at 1:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it 100? Is that what we want to do?
Yeah, I believe at least an agreed on 100. It said 75 to 100. I would say 100.
It's probably going to go, well, it will go a little over the 200 with the chips and everything. But
Okay.
just so you know.
I'll
figure it all
confirm
out.
with Lisa. How about that?
Well, if
I'll
it's
confirm.
an issue, I'll take care of it.
Okay.
I missed
And
it.
I'll pay part of the front and we'll see how it works out.
I want to volunteer for it.
Hold on 1 second, Jamisa. I have a question in the room, so let me address that real quick.
Uh-huh.
What time are we?
It's from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m.
And we're gonna get here with.
Those who are volunteering can, if they could be here by 12:30, so we can start setting.
Okay, all right, so I missed that. Thank you. I'll work on it.
Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jamisa.
I want to learn how to help people register.
Okay.
I'm
I
not
can
sure
be
what
there
time I
at
could be there, but,
12:30 to help set up April.
I'm sorry, who was that?
Sarah. I can be there at 12:30 to help set up.
Okay, thank you,
I can do setup as well. This is Joy.
Joy. Okay.
I'm having an issue hearing because of my internet. I keep going in and out, but
Don't worry about it, I got it.
Shannon said, don't worry about it, she got you.
I can be there.
I said she got you.
Oh, okay.
Were you?
Can I be a floater? Like, my day's kind of really Lisa Kennedy.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how my weekend's gonna go.
Okay.
But I will be here. I just don't know exactly what time.
Okay.
So just when I get here, you just tell me what I need to do.
Okay.
Kevin
And
is on.
April,
Yeah,
also, I would like to get people registered, so I guess get with them and get the training for that.
what, the training? Yeah, the training can be for everybody. If I have enough of us that are willing to do it, then we can also have a separate training after. It wouldn't be before, so really, but, yeah, so I can work that out. But yeah, if you're interested in learning on the spot, I will let them know that I have, however many of you are willing to do that. And actually, I may be able to get her to come early so that she could do it before the event starts. So those who are gonna be helping us set up or whatever can still be. I'll look into that. Will do.
Okay.
Thank you, Jared. Anybody else, any other comments, or anybody else want to volunteer for some of the things that we need?
I guess tear down as well, so.
Okay. And I will definitely need some people to be here to break down. So if you can't be here at the beginning, if it's possible for you to be here at the end to help break down and put the tables back together, that would be great.
That'd be me.
Lisa? Okay.
I hope to be here early.
Okay.
I've got some things up in the air.
Not a problem. Any other volunteers before I have to start assigning?
Yeah, well, I can do, like I said, whatever needed.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. 'cause
And that's Joy.
I had to sort of break down and set up and train, and you want to do the training, the on-site training. So, Kevin, if you're still listening, so we have you the table set up, so you'll be one of the ones that comes at 12:30, and Shannon table set up, Sarah set up, and then of course I'll be here from beginning to end. Johnny is going to pick up the food at 1:30, and so he can have it here by 2 at the latest. Jake, will you be available?
Hey, yes.
Do you want to do setup or breakdown?
Probably breakdown would be best, but whatever y'all really need me to do.
Breakdown is good because I got quite a few people that'll be here for setup, so breakdown.
Okay.
So you don't have to be here at 12:30.
Okay.
Okay, Regina Campbell, are you going to be available? Regina? Okay, is Juliet King, are you still on here? I'm sorry, I'm not at the keyboard to scroll around. Okay, so I think this is it. Okay, well, I'll reach out to anybody else who's on the committee that has not signed up for anything, and make sure that everybody's aware of what we're doing. So again, setup, please be here at 12:30. Breakdown, as long as if you can get here no later than 4:30, that would be good, so we can start cleaning up and breaking down whatever needs to be done prior to 5 o'clock. The event ends at 5, and I'm praying that we can be finished cleanup and ready to go by 5:30. So.
Who's doing hot dogs and cookies and all that?
Keller Williams is providing it. So Johnny's gonna go pick it up from Costco.
Who's cooking it?
Costco.
Oh, so it's pre-made.
Yeah, we're getting the hot dogs that they sell at the snack area. Yep, they're already wrapped and hot, ready to go.
Awesome. Sorry, missed that.
No, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. Anything else, anybody else with any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. The shirts.
Let me ask.
They didn't. When you sent me. Sorry.
Yeah, let me ask Stephanie about that. She did order shirts. She just went ahead and ordered the ones that you all originally told.
Hello?
Me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, they were ordered. So let me find out from her when they'll be here. She was trying to get them here by Friday at the latest. So I'll check with her and I'll let you know. Only 4 or 5 people, I think, ordered shirts. So I'll let you know when they're coming. Okay? Appreciate it. If there's no other questions, then we are dismissed. And I'm really excited. I don't know about y'all, but I am excited. I cannot wait.
Thank you, April.
Thank you. You all have a good day.
Thank you, April. You too.
Welcome. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
So this last flyer, you said that's the official one? Well, I need to look at the.
Let me make sure.
It was,
Let me see if I can go by looking at it.
Thank you for all your work on this.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you all, because I couldn't do it by myself, that's for sure.
I wanted you to get my right email, because
I'm
I think I sent it to you,
I'm sorry.
but I'm not getting the email. Well, I don't really put the.
Put your phone number in too before Sunday.
Yeah,
It might be-
yeah,
it
oh,
might
I
be
should have
important
done
for
that.
everybody.
I should have done that. So if anybody's still on listening, let me give y'all my phone number.
I got there still recording, if you put it in the chat.
What is- It's on 256-694-5692.